Hey, here I am and welcome back. Today I'm going to do some sketching at home, right here in my living room. If you are a follower of my channel or you've seen my videos before, you will know that I love urban sketching. And normally I go out and I find somewhere to sketch and I do it really quickly or really slowly, depending on the day. But last week I was watching one of the artists that I follow on YouTube, Koosje Koene, and she does a lot of sketches involving her feet, which she uses as a springboard for the rest of the sketch. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be feet, but whatever the closest object is to you, that's what sets off the sketch. And I thought this was a really interesting idea. I've seen her doing this a lot, but it's not something that I've tried before. So I thought, you know what? I like being at home. I like the space that I've created. So I'm going to sketch my living room in the style of Koosje Koene. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see how this turns out. And if you want to see how Koosje does this, I'm going to link her profile down below and all of her social media accounts as well. And while you're down there, leave me a comment, like this video, and subscribe to see more urban sketching. Right, let's get out and about. I started by putting my feet on the table. This is a pose that I've seen Koosje do in a lot of her sketches. And then I set out drawing my feet. This is my first time ever drawing feet. Anybody's feet, let alone my own. And I'm using a bent-nibbed fountain pen. This is going to give me a nice variation of lines, different thicknesses, which is going to make the final sketch look much more interesting. As you can see, I'm using the thicker part of the pen there to draw the edge of the desk. And then adding in this candle. This is a new candle. I bought this one the other day. This is mint, leaf, and oak. It's very fresh smelling. Those are a couple of coasters on the left. I did have a plan to paint on those one day, but they've gone all cracked. I don't really like them that much. Maybe I'll get some other ones. Moving on to the TV unit here. That's like a little cloth thing on the left. It's just to stop any of the wax from those candles falling onto the furniture. This is Patricia. Patricia O. She's my favorite. She is an orchid, and she is featured in a few of my sketches. She used to have some flowers, but she's lost them, so I saw on Instagram somebody putting them in pots like this, full of water, vases, sorry. But nothing has happened since. Let's see if she survives. I'll keep you posted. Here on the left, those are 3 little canvases that I painted. I made a video about them. I'm going to link it up here. And those are some wine bottles that I use as candle holders. If anybody knows anything about orchid care, am I doing the right thing putting Patricia in there? I just don't know. I did quite enjoy sketching this box. What I do when I want to sketch a line, but I don't want it to be too overpowering over the whole composition of the sketch, I tend to do a little broken line, and that helps it look a little bit more subtle. It shows you there's something there, but it doesn't draw too much attention. This photo frame I made myself at Nuesi Ceramics in Barcelona. It's a Gaudi-inspired mosaic. I went with a couple of friends. It was a really good activity. Plus there was wine. Can't complain about that. But it's a good activity in the summer to escape the heat because it has air conditioning. And it's a good activity in the winter to escape the rain. So all year round. It's great. In this photo frame there is a photo of me and a couple of my friends, which was taken a few years ago on the beach. Now I'm doing some shading already to show where the shadows are prior to painting this sketch. I think it's just going to add a bit of extra depth and keep it looking much more sketchy. This is actually a volleyball. I don't play volleyball, but I came across this ball and decided to put it there to add a pop of colour into the living room, really. This is my library, not many books in there. Much like urban sketching outdoors, the more you look, the more you see. I keep seeing little wires and things that maybe I need to tidy up, I'm not sure. Over here is one of my OG plants. This is Patchoula. She is a peace lily. She's got no flowers at the moment though, but I think I can see a couple coming. I hope she's going to bloom soon. Anyway, she likes a little bit of sun down here by the window. Those are a couple of pipes going along the wall. That's for the radiators. Now this is my guitar. I've had this guitar for, how many years? I got it in 2011. It's now 2025, so I've had it for 14 years. I bought this as a treat to myself when I landed my first singing job on a cruise ship. And I used this guitar to perform on the deck during the sea days, actually. He has a name as well. His name is Charlie, and that ukulele next to it, that is Franchetta. So now I'm just going around darkening some areas, adding some more cross-hatching for shadows where I think it is needed. The sun is shining through the window at the right, by the way, so all of the shadows are going to be on the left. I'm really making use of the bent nib of this pen now. I'm going over everything that I want to jump forward in the sketch with a nice thick line. So the edges of the furniture, anything that might have a shadow, just to bring things forward towards you and push other things back away. Some final details of the wood grain on the coffee table there. A little bit of shading on the telly. And I think that's the sketch part done. After sitting with my feet up on the coffee table for about 45 minutes while I did that sketch, my legs were numb. I had pins and needles in my feet, so I've had to change position just for this painting part. I'm using my limited palette here. This is mainly Daniel Smith with a couple of Winsor & Newton in there. And I've mixed my own browny, orangey colour for the TV stand. It's a mixture of Hansa Yellow and Pyrrole Scarlet. And then I've added a bit of burnt umber from Winsor & Newton into there just to give it a bit of variation for the coffee table because they aren't quite the same colour. Keep mixing in different shades of the burnt umber and indigo to get some darker browns. I'm trying to keep mixing the same colours over and over again so that everything has the same kind of vibe. I don't want to use too many colours. This is the fallow green straight out of the pan. I've used that for both plants. And then this Pyrrole Scarlet that I've put over here on Charlie, the guitar, it's very opaque. You only need a little bit of it, and I often find myself having to water it down quite a lot. And then I'm using the green to create the shadows because they are complementary colours. I didn't really pay too much attention to what colours those book covers were. I just mixed them up a little bit. Added some yellow to show where the sun is shining on my lovely little plants. It was a nice warm day, so the watercolours were drying nice and quickly, which meant that I could just keep working wherever I wanted to on the page, really, without worrying about things getting muddy. Here for the TV, I used indigo. I don't even have a black in this palette, but I very rarely would use black anyway. You can mix enough colour to get close enough to black, and nothing's really that dark, is it? Plus, once you've already put down a really dark colour, you can't really recover from it. So I tend to use indigo. These wine bottles that are my candle holders are all slightly different colours. And then this is actually a little bit too green for that candle, but it's all right, it's close enough. It's just a sketch. Who's going to check? Again, using mixtures of indigo and other colours to create the shadows. And I've left my feet purposefully blank. I haven't added any colour to those. That it was something that Koosje did in her video, and this was my homework, so I hope she approves and I hope she likes it. I encourage you to check out her Instagram, her YouTube, all of her socials. She's really, really great. So there it is. That is my living room inspired by Koosje Koene. I really enjoyed this process. It's quite different from how I normally sketch, but I'm definitely going to use it again in the future. It's really interesting to draw something close to you and then expand out from that. So thank you very much for watching this week, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!